What is going on with our justice system? And where are these anti-gun Democrats at in this situation? Welcome to another installment of the Connecticut Gun Bench. Today's video is brought to you by P.A.N. Firearms, LLC. P.A.N. Firearms for your NRA certification and multifaceted gun training. You can reach us at 203-300-6343 or use our website, www.panfirearmsllc.com. As always, there'll be a link in the description box below. But let's talk about this. This story came across my feed, and as it's developing, there's some very disturbing information coming forward. A gentleman by the name of Quintez Brown. Now, if you don't know who that is, believe me, I'm going to expose him fully. But in July 2nd, 2019, this same gentleman wrote an op-ed in the Courier Journal titled, "Kentucky's Concealed Carry Law Shows Your Life Does Not Matter to Gun-Loving Republicans." And I just want to get to what he is saying here. This is his quote. "Your life has no meaning to the irresponsible politicians in Frankfort who time and time again chose the National Rifle Association over your life. Their support for Senate Bill 150, which allows Kentuckians to carry concealed weapons without a permit, is yet another warning. They put a price tag on your life and decided that the blood money they receive from the NRA is more valuable. Every time lawmakers vote against gun safety and thus the lives of our most vulnerable, they show that their hearts can be as cold as the steel of the guns they praise." Now, I want to show you this video. This is the same person, this Mr. Gentleman Quintez Brown, at the March for Our Lives, which happened in 2018, and of course Joy Reid, in her exploitative nature, had to go out and she interviewed Quintez Brown. Here that is right here.
If he were to tune in, to listen, to be watching right now, Quintez, what do you want to say to these very powerful politicians from your home state? You're from the home state of the Senate Majority Leader. What do you want him to know?
Well, I want you to know that, we are here and we want common sense gun reform. And if you're not going to give us that, then we're going to get everyone out here to vote, and we're going to vote you out of office. So if you want to keep your job, then, give us not what we want, but what we need, what humans need. We need common sense gun reform. Get rid of assault rifles. Come on, when
are you guys going to turn 18?
I turn 18 September 25th. I'm
already registered. And already registered.
What about 29, so we're registered.
And you guys are making the connection. You believe that this is about being in the voting booth.
Definitely. Emma Gonzalez, she already put an emphasis on it, because we do have some very inflexible congressmen, so maybe we won't get gun reform the next day, but nonviolent direct action takes time. It's not going to happen overnight. So one thing that we can do is get people out here voting, because even if we don't get gun reform, we're going to vote the people in office out, and we're going to vote people who want gun reform, who care about us. We're going to put them in office.
Absolutely. And I mean, what happened in Alabama, does that give you guys sort of a fresh start to say, wait a minute, you can have substantial change even in a red state.
Definitely.
People aren't listening to their constituents. They can get voted out even.
Why am I getting all into this? Because in just the truest sense of irony, this same person, Quintez Brown, anti-gun activist, BLM activist, what have you, walked into the mayoral candidate, I believe his last name is Greenberg, walked into his office, pulled out a gun, and arbitrarily started shooting at the man. Now, I have that video feed here. And once again, context, I want you to see. I don't want anybody to point a finger and say, oh, you're making this up. No, here it is. Here's a video of that incident.
We have several late developments to bring you during this 30 minutes. It is breaking news as we begin here on the WHAS11 night team. Attempted murder. That is one of the major charges facing a well-known Louisville activist in jail tonight, accused of what police say is the targeted shooting of mayoral candidate Craig Greenberg. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I'm Doug Proffitt. Just before 9 tonight, Louisville Metro Police announced that they've arrested this man, 21-year-old Quintez Brown, for the shooting at Greenberg's Butchertown Market office this morning. A police report just released moments ago says Brown was caught less than a half mile away from the Butchertown Market The report says from police that he had a loaded 9mm magazine in his pants pocket. The bag he was carrying had a 9mm Glock handgun and additional handgun magazines, according to police. The police report then says surveillance cameras in the building helped police identify him immediately. Brown is charged with attempted murder and 4 counts of wanton endangerment after 4 of Greenberg's staff members were in the room during the shooting. Back in December, Quintez Brown announced his run for Metro Council in District Number 5, which includes parts of the Portland and Shawnee neighborhoods. Brown is best known for his activism and writing, often focusing on race relations. He once had a regular freelance column in the Courier Journal. We talked to Brown in June of 2020 during a youth march that he organized for Breonna Taylor's birthday.
It was very important for me, for everyone to be out on Breonna Taylor's birthday, because we don't want her name to be erased and drowned out by rioters, looters, and violent police. You know, we're really trying to celebrate Breonna and the demands of her family.
Tonight, we've been talking to many people who know Quintez Brown and are aware of his mental health struggles. Louisville's Kasha Herron knows Brown through her work as a writer. She told me she's overjoyed that Greenberg and his staff are safe, and she never believed Brown could be capable of what he's accused of doing today.
I'm just saddened that I believe this was preventable, and if we collectively, as a community, would put our arms around not just the Quintezes of the world, but there are plenty of folks right now who really need mental health services. And I hope that Quintez is getting it now. That's what I think about when I think about Quintez. I think about his brilliance. I think about his leadership ability. And sadly, I have not thought about his mental state.
It was last summer. Brown was reported missing for several days, leading to several searches throughout this city. He was later found safe in New York City in July. At the time, his family asked for privacy as they helped him with his physical, mental, and spiritual health. New York activist Carlene Pinto, who is heading to Louisville now, was in the Bronx when he was found last summer and talked to me tonight about the news of his charges.
I'm thanking God that nobody died today. I am thanking God, and I am praying that someone provide that young man the mental health support and resources that he so desperately has needed for the last year.
When you inquired as to whether he was getting help, as you just said, what did you learn from people here in Louisville? What were they telling you?
There was no clear conclusion that he was in a supportive rehabilitation program, or that he had, been in spaces where he had fully come to terms with what happened to him last year.
Now, investigators have not released a possible motive in the shooting just yet. Earlier today, LMPD Police Chief Erica Shields said they're exploring all options.
Mr. Greenberg is Jewish, so there's that. We don't know if it's tied to the candidate, political, or if it's just, are we dealing with someone who has mental issues or is venomous? I don't know. So we have to really keep an open mind and really just be diligent in taking care of our community.
A spokesperson for Greenberg's campaign did not have any additional comment tonight, telling us they'll have more to say on this tomorrow.
In a New York Post article titled "Kentucky Mayoral Candidate Targeted in Shooting at Campaign Office," cops say a mayoral candidate in Kentucky was targeted in a shooting inside his campaign office Monday, police said. The shooter walked into the Louisville office of candidate Craig Greenberg and squeezed off multiple shots, but the Democratic mayor hopeful was not struck, Police Chief Erica Shields told WLKY. One of the rounds fired, however, appeared to graze Greenberg's clothing before he and his staff were ushered away from the building. Shields said no injuries were reported. The suspect, whose identity was not released, was apprehended outside Greenberg's campaign office, police said. It was not immediately clear whether the person had any previous ties to the politician, Shields said. We will need to allow the investigators to do the appropriate work, the police chief told reporters. We also have no reason to believe at this time that this individual was acting anything but alone. And there's a picture of the mayoral candidate there. So let's understand this. This same anti-gun BLM activist, claiming that the NRA is putting people's lives at risk, walks into the office of a Jewish mayoral candidate and arbitrarily starts opening fire. Now, I don't know if the gun was legally purchased. I have no idea. They have not released any information on how the gun was obtained, so I'm not going to touch that. But it's just the most ironic thing to watch this go down. And once again, the mainstream media has nothing to say about this. These anti-gun activists have said nothing about this. Now, what's even more interesting is that now the police chief, Erica Shields, touched on the fact that the candidate, the person who was being shot at, was Jewish, and they're looking at that angle. But if we go into the Daily Mail article, apparently this same activist, Quintez Brown, had allegiance to the anti-Semitic causes, including the Lions of Judah Armed Forces, which he had on his social media account. So you pull up this Daily Mail article titled, BLM activist Quintez Brown, who was arrested for trying to kill a Jewish mayoral candidate, showed allegiance to anti-Semitic causes, including Lion of Judah Armed Forces, on his social media accounts. A Black Lives Matter activist who was charged with attempted murder last week followed an alleged assassination attempt on a Jewish mayoral candidate, exhibited anti-Semitic views on social media. Quintez Brown, 21, was arrested and charged with attempted murder shortly after Monday's shooting in Louisville, Kentucky, in which a Democratic candidate, Craig Greenberg, narrowly avoided the bullet. Now, I'm going to get into this a little bit here. He was released from prison and placed under house arrest. Now I'm going to back away from this article because I want to show this video. This is, yes, the Louisville community with support from BLM actually bailed out Quintez Brown from jail after he was arrested for his actions. Here's the thing. This is where I say our justice system has some real issues. His bail was $100,000. $100,000. That's it. This is, to me, borderline first-degree murder. He walked in, pulled out a firearm, and discharged it, not randomly, but at one person. He was targeting that person. This was an assassination attempt on a mayoral candidate. He targeted a political candidate. Is that not the grounds of terrorism? Once again, there's silence across the board with BLM and all these organizations, all the anti-gun crowd have said nothing about this event. But they bailed him out for $100,000. I don't know if they did the standard 10%. Usually your bail, you pay 10% out of pocket and then the rest is covered by a bail bond person. But it was $100,000. I don't know if they came up with a full $100,000 or just $10,000. Another story, but they bailed him out. I want you to watch this video, because the mental gymnastics on the part of the organizer of this bail fund is stunning.
He is, of course, the man accused of shooting at mayoral candidate Craig Greenberg in Butchertown on Monday, charged with attempted murder now. The Louisville Community Bail Fund got the money together with the help of Black Lives Matter. Rachel Droz has been covering every step to the bond process today. She was there as it was posted, and Rachel's joining us live here at 6. And Rachel, has Quintez Brown been released yet? What do you know about that?
No, Doug, we are still waiting on Quintez Brown to be released from the jail, which is right behind me, after that local organization paid his $100,000 cash bond.
And we'll get this sent right over to court.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
The Louisville Community Bail Fund says the organization is paying for Brown's release to keep him safe and give him the help he needs, especially after the recent string of deaths at LMDC.
The jail right now, LMDC leadership, have not been able to support the people that are in their care. Legally, that is what they're supposed to do.
Chanel Helm says activists and organizers like Brown likely have PTSD after the past couple of years of social unrest and the pandemic, and says her organization has provided Brown's family with a list of mental health services.
In this case, we're dealing with someone that has mental health issues.
Helm is an organizer at Black Lives Matter Louisville and the founder of the Louisville Community Bail Fund. She knows Brown personally and says it was important for her and the organization to help him.
We have someone who has ignored the West End, has created multiple opportunities for himself that has been hit by this gun violence. And then we have somebody who has been fighting and creating opportunities for others and himself to end gun violence, to end violence in his community.
Helm also says she thinks there are multiple sides to all stories.
This didn't affect only those folks in the office and their families. This didn't just affect Quintez's family and the people who love him in this community as well. This affects everybody every day.
Now, we aren't sure when exactly Brown will be released, but LMDC officials say it usually takes 1 to 4 hours after bail is posted. Doug?
Well, Rachel, has Craig Greenberg commented on this bond posting that happened today yet?
Not yet. I've been in contact with his team, and they said that they will be sending a statement at some point, but I just have not received that yet. I'll be sure to update everyone once I get it.
I'm going to go back to the Daily Mail article. In the months leading up to the shooting, Brown's social media posts showed an increasing interest in black nationalists and Pan-Africanist leaders. And last week, he appeared to encourage his followers to join the Lion of Judah Armed Forces. The group shares similar ideas to the Black Hebrew Israelite movements. Remember them from that incident with, that kid. You remember the kid that they doxxed because they claimed he was, a racist because the Indian person was standing in his face, banging his drum. Like, God, geez, somebody in the comments tell me who that kid was. I can't find it right here. But they were there also, the Black Hebrew Israelites, and they were the ones who actually ignited this whole thing, that whole event that day. But which claims the Black Americans are true descendants of the biblical Hebrews and has been associated with several murders of Jews in the U.S. Wow. Brown was one of 22 people chosen to meet former President of the United States in 2019, a part of Obama's My Brother's Keeper Alliance, which is aimed at closing achievement gaps facing young boys and men of color. Yeah, and I noticed that they're doing that through equity, not through merit. Another story. He also made regular appearances on the BBC to discuss race matters in the U.S. and was running as an independent candidate for Louisville Metro Council. Okay. So here's all that information. I didn't make any of it up. This is perhaps the most shocking thing I've ever seen. One, as he spews his anti-gun rhetoric, what does he do? He takes a firearm and goes in and tries to kill someone with it. Immediately, of course, lawyers, family members, other activists all rush to say that this is, oh, he has mental health issues, and oh, I hope he gets the help that he needs. Well, why didn't you get him that help before this happened? Why does it take this event for you to finally speak up about his mental health issues? But that's another story because I'm going to stick to this. He targeted a Jewish mayoral candidate. He is a known member of anti-Semitic groups. Why is this not a hate crime? I tell you why it's not a hate crime, because he's black. That's just the damnedest thing, and that's the truth, and it's as shocking as it comes, there it is, because he's black. He is not going to be charged with a hate crime, despite the connections that we have to not these two groups, Lions of Judah and the Black Hebrew Israelites. Our justice system, once again, has failed us. $100,000 for a person who attempted to assassinate a political candidate. That's just damn shocking. Yet, you were involved in something on a protest that turns violent on January 6th. You're in jail without being able to see a lawyer. There's something seriously wrong here. And BLM has once again shown its true colors, okay, by basically bailing this person out. He should have stayed in jail. Get him the mental health. Get him the mental health while he's there. This is not a person you want walking around the streets like that. If he's got mental health problems and he's willing to take a gun and go shoot somebody, what else is he willing to do? Now that he knows that, hey, somebody's always going to come to get me out if I do something wrong. This is absolutely shocking. And the fact that the anti-gun establishment has nothing to say about it is even more disturbing. We will see how this case continues. I mean, he did it. He's on video. Witnesses pointed, you have already ID'd him. Yet, we're being told that he's the alleged shooter. But, once again, I'm just stunned at the hypocrisy of all this. But let me know what you think. Leave your comments in the comments section below. If anybody remembers the name of the kid, I know I'm going to look it up and find it, and I'll probably put it in the description box. His name escapes me. I think it's Sandman. But leave your comment section below. Any calls for violence or statements that lead to violence will be deleted as always. And please like, share, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you can get notified the next time a video goes live. As you can see, I'm flustered. So I'm sorry. But this kind of stuff, it just drives you crazy. But I will see you on the next one. Peace.